Rod Rosenstein has not testified in 2 years. We're wondering what he's going to say.
Yeah, and you know what's funny, Ed? I mean, in another life, in another time, this would have been the biggest story of the day, if not the entire week. The former Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein testifying to Congress about his handling of the Russia investigation. And this is really a big deal because it will give Senate Republicans their first hearing into the origins of that probe. And normally this would get wall-to-wall coverage, but today, of course, it's going to have to compete with those nationwide protests and a pandemic. Ed?
You're right about that. We're also wondering what he's going to say about the Michael Flynn case. A lot to get to. We'll go there live next hour. Kristen Fisher, thank you. Sandra?
All right. For more on today's Senate hearing, let's bring in the senator from Louisiana, Senator John Kennedy, who serves on the Judiciary Committee. Senator, thank you for your time this morning. Ahead of all of this, first start out by telling us what conclusions, based on all of the information, data, interviews, documents that you have been able to see heading into this, what conclusions you have drawn about the origins of that investigation.
Well, if you know the difference between a law book and a J. Crew catalog, you can see that there were illegalities. Inspector General Horowitz's report, the debacle with Carter Page, with General Flynn, the fact that Chairman Schiff interviewed in secret and under oath over 50 witnesses, most of whom are from the Obama administration, who testified there was no collusion, and then the chairman went right out in front of the press and said, I have direct evidence of collusion, and certain members of the press sucked it up like a Hoover Deluxe. And what we're going to try to do with Mr. Rosenstein today is get some straight answers. I'm a pretty simple guy. I like straight answers and breakfast food. And what I want to know from the former Deputy Attorney General today is what happened, why it happened, what did he know, why didn't he know, and what in God's name are we going to do about it? Because all these chuckleheads have really hurt the premier law enforcement institution in all of human history. That's the FBI.
Dealing with what we know and what we don't know.
Before we finish, I want to say something about New York, Sandra, because I'm really worried about it. Please.
I will give you that opportunity, Senator. Thank you for noting it. When it comes to what we know and what we don't know, as far as the approval of that third FISA renewal application for Carter Page, obviously this is going to come up. Rosenstein has gone on the record saying that he didn't recall knowing about the political nature of the Steele dossier when signing the Carter Page FISA renewal application. Heading into this, what do you think that actually comes from this, and what questions do you have, Senator?
Well, he was the Deputy Attorney General. Now, Sessions had recused himself, so really on this matter, he was the Attorney General. And his people, and the people under him, FBI too, are investigating a presidential campaign. And he may say he doesn't remember or he didn't look. The obvious question is why? I mean, you're investigating a presidential campaign, for God's sakes. Duh. Don't you think, before you signed off on the third warrant, that you ought to take a look? Unless somebody briefed me on the Steele dossier. I mean, by now, you guys, he should have told the FBI, I've had a chance to figure out, is it accurate? Is it accurate? Now, if he didn't ask that question, I want to know why. Because he's a smart man. Rod's a very smart guy. And you can't plead ignorance, not when you're captain of the ship. That's my opinion.
Okay, so as we anticipate all of that, I will get to New York in just a moment. But first,
sure.
To continued reaction, bipartisan reaction, in fact, to the president after he addressed the nation 2 days ago, walking out, holding up a Bible at St. John's Church, some saying it was merely a photo op, but even reaction within your own party, Lisa Murkowski, objecting to the president's move there. Listen together.
Was it an abuse of power to use tear gas to disperse peaceful protesters?
I did not think that what we saw last night was the American that I know.
As to why the president chose the church, I don't know. All I can say is that urging the governors to control their states and mayors to control their cities is a good thing. The military does not like getting in a position of having to police within the United States.
So some have objected to the move, some have supported it. Senator Kennedy, I know that you have strong feelings on it. Was it appropriate?
Well, here's a news flash, Sandra. Some people in Washington don't like Trump. And that's their right. I get it. I like it when my presidents lift up religious liberty. I'm a Christian. I'm a Methodist. That's a Christian. I like it when presidents talk about or highlight the Bible. I'd feel the same way about other holy documents and other religions. I think a lot of this is just by people that just don't like Trump, and that's their right. But and we're going to have an election soon, but he was elected by the American people. I don't like everything the president does, but I'm sure not going to criticize him for standing for religious liberty. And it was wrong to burn down St. John's Church. I mean, I don't see how anybody can think otherwise. There's just no way to justify that.
Well, there's obviously the question, too, of those that were trying to peacefully protest on the ground, and that's where some of the criticism came in. To that point, your thoughts on New York?
I'll tell you what I saw. I'll tell you what I saw on television. I saw, and I know there were some folks there who were peacefully protesting, and they should be allowed to do that. But I also saw people throwing objects. I don't know whether they were bottles of water or bricks or rocks, but I saw that too.
Senator, final thoughts on New York. You said you wanted to react.
Yeah, I didn't mean to tell you how to run your show, Sandra, but I think Governor Cuomo was right. I'm really worried about the cops and the peaceful protesters and the business owners in New York. And I don't know what planet Mayor de Blasio parachuted in from, but I don't see him carrying his happy ass down there and trying to protect people. He needs help to protect everybody, the peaceful protesters, the cops, and the business owners. And if he doesn't realize he needs help, then he's not qualified to run a hot dog stand as far as I'm concerned. I think he ought to listen to his governor.
Senator, are you suggesting the National Guard is needed in New York? Is that what you're saying?
Well, duh, yeah. I mean, all you got to do is look at Fifth Avenue, for God's sakes. I mean, it's horrible. And lawful protesting is as American as baseball. Men and women have died to protect that right in this country, on the battlefield and off. But if you don't know the difference between peacefully protesting and felony rioting, then you tested positive for stupid. And burning down businesses and trying to hurt cops and trying to hurt lawful protesters who disagree with you is a crime. And these people ought to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And I think that's what most fair-minded Americans believe. Now, not the people on the crank wings. I get it. And they have their right to their opinion. But, the law is the law, and it knows no color.
Senator John Kennedy, never mincing words. Joining us from Capitol Hill this morning from the state of Louisiana, Senator Kennedy, thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.